From Bernice getting lit to Minato bouncing on it, there's a lot of reasons to love Zenless Zone Zero that's not just fan service. I'm not going to be blind and pretend that I don't know what kind of game this is. Yes, there was a lot of fan service, but there's also a lot of heart and care put into it. In honor of Zenless' 2nd anniversary, let's look back at those iconic moments that made me stop and go, this is something special. I mean, yeah, of course, come on, this was going to get talked about. So let's start off with the obvious one. This scene is glazed enough, and for good reason. Miyabi is Zenless' most popular character. For a lot of people, this is still the best scene that Zenless has ever created, and it's kinda difficult to argue against it. Everything in Season 1 was leading up to this moment. Bringer was set up as the game's first big villain, and while he did have some shortcomings in terms of his character writing, there is no doubt that when he turned into an ethereal, he was a threat. But Miyabi's the GOAT. She shows Bringer that there's levels to this, and that his blade is just a weak imitation. Miyabi finally overcomes this emotional weight of her sword and now has reached a new mastery over it. She puts everything into this attack. Her grief, her resolve, all of it. We even get glimpses of her animated short. But what makes this scene really special is the needle drop. Having Come Alive played during this moment is what makes this scene the perfect ending to Season 1. Seeing Miyabi slice all the way through not just Bringer, but the hollow itself is still one of the most hype moments I've felt from a gacha game. It captured the feeling of seeing the ending of an anime arc. The only negative against it is that some of the characters weren't fully voiced. However, it's a moment that even when Zenless' story is not at its best, I'll still have fond memories of this world because of this scene. There's no shortage of emotional moments in Zenless. Miyabi's short with her mother, we have Lucia reconciling with her father, but for me, the most heartbreaking moment was Seed Senior's final message. Let it be known that I was a Seed hater when they first revealed Flora. It was disappointing that we would only be playing as the big mech half of the time, but I'm mature enough to appreciate a good story despite my gripes with the character design. Seed's agent story is about her dealing with the death of Seed Senior. It's a story that tackles the topic of handling the loss of a parent when you're too young to understand death. It's a beautiful quest that is one of, if not the best agent story we've gotten. To make things less confusing, I'll be calling Seed Senior the intelligent construct, just Seed, and Seed Junior the human, Flora. What makes this agent story stand out is its mature storytelling. Flora as a character is a human that doesn't have a heart. She struggles to understand the emotions of others and struggles to understand her own emotions. By contrast, Seed is an intelligent construct that is deeply empathetic and understands what it means to be human. This was something that Seed tried to teach her before he died. Unlike many other agent quests, there's no villain in this one. The only antagonistic force is Veronica, but her anger towards Flora is understandable even if it is misplaced. The two parallel each other in the way that they both struggle to accept death. The real tragedy is that Seed is gone too soon. It's a unique kind of pain to lose a parent when you're so young. There are so many questions that Flora still has, and so many lessons that Seed wanted to teach her. The game uses planting flowers as a metaphor for maturing or growing up.
When I stopped, I left the seeds with you. You'll continue to sow them as you move forward. So just keep going, step by step.
Sometimes, as a parent, there's only so much you can do, and you have to have faith that the love and care you put into a child will help them grow, or in this case, bloom like a flower. We can see how Flora's inability to take care of flowers reflects her inability to understand emotions. It's only when she learns the truth of Seed's death that she begins to understand why there's this pain in her chest. When she visits the place where she first met Seed, we get to see her voice these feelings that she didn't know how to express before.
I hate you, Seed Senior. Why did you leave without saying goodbye? Why couldn't you stay just a little longer? Why does it feel like I can't breathe in the cockpit even though it hasn't gotten any more cramped?
There are so many complex feelings that she has towards Seed's passing. It's all a very human experience. There's a part of her that still hopes that Seed is still alive. I love this moment when Flora puts Seed's hand on her head to recreate that comfort that she felt as a child. When it moves under its own weight, there's a second that Flora believes that by some miracle, Seed is still alive, but he's not. When Flora finally lets herself grieve and let out a well-needed cry, a real miracle does happen. she gets to hear Seed's final words. To Seed, life is a circle where we find our hearts and plant flowers along the way. When our journey is finished, there will be flowers along the path we walked. The voice acting is incredible. Monica Rial does a great job at capturing Flora's grief. This quest was so well done and is the best example for why we need to bring back agent stories. Some agents need their own quest to give them the proper time to explore their character arc. Rest in peace, Seed, Father of the Year. So where were you when this EP released? Bernice is proof that it's not about how much screen time you have, it's how you use it. Bernice is a character that is still one of the most recognizable characters from Zenless Zone Zero, despite the fact that she barely got any focus in the main story. She's a case of what happens when something becomes bigger than the fandom itself. I've seen countless people cosplay as her, fan animations that have millions of views, song covers, even Kiara from Hololive did her dance during one of her streams. Bernice was reaching all corners of the internet. I guarantee you that there are people that know Bernice but don't know what Zenless Zone Zero is. Her influence also reached the Star Rail and Genshin community. There were covers from both Hu Tao and Boot Hill's voice actors. It was a good time to be a Hoyoverse fan because, for a brief moment, there was no gacha tribalism. It was just communities joining in on the collective psychosis that is Bernice White. It was perfect for her character because she's a character that becomes friends with anybody and everybody. When Bernice is around, it's gonna be a good time. I've made it known that I am not a fan of Season 2, especially with how they use Belle and Wise as protagonists. So when I played the epilogue, I had low expectations. But guys, the Proxy turning to Pyroas for the first time was such a good moment. The presentation of this moment is some of the best in Zenless' history. First off, the voice acting, incredible. Having Stephen Fu and Courtney Steele voice Wise and Belle is one of the things I'm grateful for in Zenless. Hearing the voice actors perform and see how different the siblings are from each other is something that I love. The first fight is an amalgamation of different ethereals that we faced in the past. There's Nineveh's wings, the Defiler's weapon, the tail attack from the sacrifice back in Belobog's chapter. It's one of the coolest designs for an ethereal, but the second phase is even better. I am a sucker for fighting eldritch gods on top of buildings. Having the boss be the main character is a writing choice I didn't expect from Hoyoverse. I know they did this in the past with Honkai Impact 3rd, but that was 10 years ago. This scene is a natural consequence of Belle and Wise's journey. The more they reach for the truth, the more dangerous it becomes. I know Belle and Wise are going to be fine, but good storytelling is like a magic trick. Even if I generally know what the outcome is going to be, if the story is able to surprise me by how we got there, it's a good story. This moment raised the stakes because it's forcing the Proxy to grow as a character. There is something clearly wrong with their eyes, and they can no longer deny it. They have to change because if they don't, they'll lose control again. This scene set the tone for Season 3 and was a big narrative shift that was desperately needed. The Proxy was in this sort of in-between where they had some powers to go in the hollow, but they were still weak like in Season 1. This scene was a stronger commitment to having the Proxy develop powers. Will I miss the vibe and unique role of Phaethon in Season 1, where there were a guy in a chair? Yeah, but as the story expands its scope and scale, our protagonist has to grow with it. I'm excited to see how the story continues to develop Belle and Wise. If done correctly, I can see the Phaethon siblings reaching for a status that rivals Joyous, and that's something that really excites me.
Lady Miyabi, please step on me!
Zenless is the funniest of the 3 Hoyoverse games that I've played. The voice actors nail the delivery and the timing every time. Picking my favorite joke is the most difficult thing on this list. There's the Angels of Delusion with miasma.
The damaged constructs around here have been almost completely corrupted by miasma.
What is miasma?
It's when you can't breathe very well.
Or we're suddenly less poor.
Look at that! We're suddenly less poor!
We can even go way back with Belobog.
Oh no! Grace might know everything about machinery, but she's single as hell! She knows nothing about love!
But for me, the funniest moments in Zenless are any scene with Billy and Cecilia. Is this cheating? Maybe. But you can't deny that Billy and Cecilia have some of the best moments in Zenless.
Cecilia, need a hand? Check it out. My new armor's got fingertip micro thruster assist.
Stop! Dumbass, you almost got tricked by the enemy. Hands off my snacks.
Billy is already one of the funniest characters in the game, but pair him with a snake thyron to share a single brain cell with, and you get some of the funniest dialogue in the game. What makes these two work together so well is that they're both so similar. Both are highly competent when they need to be, but they're also very goofy in different ways. Their characters have a chemistry that make them feel like siblings. It's a dynamic that feels similar to the Cunning Hares while also being different from the other members. Part of Zenless' identity is how it balances drama with comedy. There are a lot of moments when Zenless has high stakes and drama, but it's at its best when it knows how and when to use comedy to create levity. Zenless shouldn't go full comedy, and it shouldn't go full melodrama. Zenless should have a balance, and Billy and Cecilia fit that role perfectly. What we have here is an example of the blind leading the blind, Dumb and Dumber, Stu and Pid. It doesn't matter what you want to call them, they're absolute cinema. Zenless EPs are some of the best marketing that HoYoverse has ever released. Picking my favorite EP is difficult, but not impossible. Caesar's Pinking is a sugary sweet song that's on my gym playlist. Dami Dami is my favorite character EP because of how it subtly shows Lucia's character, while also being catchy. But the EP that I want to talk about is Zenless' first opening, Come Alive. Every time I hear this song, I get chills. The reason I picked it is because everything you need to know about Zenless Zone Zero's core ethos is in this song. Come Alive is about never giving up even when against overwhelming and impossible odds. The song begins with a sense of dread and asks the question, how long until we all fade away? The chorus is a response to that fear. We all have the same desire, we all want to keep living another day. To come alive means to face that dread with enthusiasm. Even in the darkest nights, there are still stars in the sky. No matter how small, there is still light in the darkness. That resolve to keep fighting, even when you're at your absolute limit, is what makes you unstoppable. It's a reflection of humanity's struggle against the Hollows. The lyrics, burn in the night like wildfire, creates a feeling of hope. While the Hollows are a limitless void that's consuming the world, something even greater is the hope of the people. The willpower of New Eridu's people to fight is a wildfire. It can't be contained. Most of the world is already consumed, and the Hollows are an ever-looming presence in the game. Almost every section of the map, you can find a Hollow just sitting there, reminding you of the inevitable. Even when everything around you is telling you to give up, that's when you keep going. This theme is present in every single character. Every agent has experienced tragedy or has some internal conflict. Despite it all, they found a way to put on a brave face and handle it head on. It's also a reminder that you don't have to do it alone. Every agent belongs to a faction. Every conflict in the story was solved by many and not just one person. Even the characters that are loners and work solo had somebody to help them. Hugo needed Lycon, and Jane Doe had Seth. You're not just fighting for yourself, but also for your friends and for your community. People by our nature are social creatures, and as frustrating as it can be, we need each other to survive. At its core, this is what Zenless is all about. Even when you're at your lowest, it's important to keep fighting for another day because the odds are never zero. It's Hopecore at its finest. We can all make it out of the Hollows. I want to hear what your favorite Zenless moment was. It could be from the story, trailers, or something that only you experienced while playing the game. Thank you guys for watching. Go watch my other videos if you haven't. I'll see you guys next time. It might be a week, it might be a year.